to the other wrestling company,
Yeah.
WWE. Let me make sure I get this right. Yes. So moving on from Ring of Honor and AEW to WWE, moving from one executive branch of a professional wrestling organization to another executive branch of a professional wrestling organization, The Rock was recently quoted in saying that there have been talks with Nick Khan about him possibly being an executive in WWE. First of all, I want to know your reaction to this, and second, I want to know that if you were Nick Khan and you had to give The Rock a role, what would it be?
Honestly, the first thing that comes to my mind when it comes to The Rock is his character and his charisma. He's very entertaining naturally, not even just like on screen with WWE, but even if you watch this man in his interviews, like he just oozes this something to him. Like he is electrifying both on screen and off screen.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love if he worked with some talent and helped them find their selves and find their character or maybe get more comfortable to amplify themselves. Like I would love if he directly worked with talent. I'm not sure if I see him um creating storylines. I'll be honest. I know that he's like
Yeah.
been in the movie industry for some time now, but I feel like he would actually just work better if he helped out talent directly, help molding them.
Mm,
Because again, when I think of The Rock, yes, he has like his iconic moveset and stuff like that, but I feel like he can help people more with their presence. 'Cause I do
mm,
feel like that's what the newer crop of talent are missing. They are missing some form of like a real presence. Like the storylines do need a facelift, but I
mm-hmm.
don't see The Rock fixing that.
Yeah, yeah, that's a
I
fact.
see him helping. Yeah, like I can't physically see it, but I feel like he'd be really important with taking a few people underneath his wing at a time and just
Mm-hmm.
helping to just mold them, teach them like how to look into the camera, how to deliver certain lines, what's a good character direction to go into and how to get that crowd or that it factor, so that it could resonate. That I feel like he has a lot to offer there because he has a
Mm-hmm.
lot of personal or people skills, I should say.
Yeah.
I don't see him in the back pressing buttons. I can't see it. What do
Mm-hmm.
you think?
I think so. I agree with all that, right? I think that he can help people with establishing their presence. I think that he can help people with, their character development and stuff like that. I don't think that he's a storyline guy. I think that Triple H is fine exactly where he is. I think that the team that he's put in place is doing a good job so far. But I think that where The Rock can thrive is being a liaison between the greater entertainment world and WWE. I feel like WWE has never had an official ambassador. And I think that him being the official ambassador for WWE would 100% make sense. Like The Rock is the highest paid actor in the world. And I'm pretty sure with between that and the XFL and his other commitments, he's not going to be backstage on Raw. He's not going to be backstage on SmackDown, on NXT. He may pop up a couple times, but that's a very busy man who has a very very dense business portfolio. But this man is
Mhm.
he has his own football league, and he's the highest paid actor in Hollywood, meaning that he can be the face of WWE in certain places where a Roman Reigns or a John Cena may not be, because he's immersed in a way where both of those guys aren't yet. So I kind of see him being like a liaison between the entertainment world and WWE, just officially, and maybe just give him like some other form of title. But I think that The Rock is more than qualified in being a WWE executive, and I think that it's very very interesting that we're seeing Hunter and Sean and Rock being called executives of WWE 20 years after the Attitude Era. Like, I think that
Yeah.
that's just super crazy to me. But it's kind of in the way of where sports and entertainment is going. Like a lot of the organizations that are popping up and doing well have guys in these positions of power who used to be one of the guys. You know what I mean? Like you have an NBA Players Association filled with a bunch of guys who play or who have played. You know what I mean? You have record labels where where there are artists that are sitting on the executive branches of those. And I feel like a lot of organizations are moving towards that route of we need people who did this to be involved in making the decisions. And I think that The Rock could definitely be one of those people. And I think that he should be an ambassador for WWE. I think that that's kind of the best way to go about it. I was going to say, did you have anything else you wanted to add? Nah?
Honestly, I don't think I have anything else to add because you kind of said it perfectly. Like, I didn't know where you would put him, but the way that you worded it, yeah, they could definitely use an ambassador. And I never thought about them not having one because I got so used to like their form of having like ambassadors is them getting external people
Yeah.
and trying to pull from a different audience. It's like you said, it's kind of they don't really have that from the inside out, at least not at the moment. I don't think they built anyone up to like well, I guess you could think of people like Roman Reigns and when Sasha was there and kind of what
Mm.
they're doing with Bianca, but The Rock is like a whole different level. So I feel like it is beneficial. My only question is how much money do they give this man to convince him? Because he don't want to come back to no shows. He don't want to come back to no pay-per-views. He don't want to feud with nobody.
Here's what I
I would love to know the
suggest.
dollar amount.
Here's what I suggest because if I'm not mistaken, there are two people who take a cut of everything. There are two people who WWE takes a cut of everything that they do. One of them is The Rock, the other one is John Cena. So like when we look at like his movies, when we look at The Rock's movies, WWE's taking a cut of that. When we look at The Rock and Under Armour, WWE's taking a cut of that. So I don't even think that they're going to give him
Mm,
money. I think that Nick Khan is just going to be like, if you come back and you take this executive role, you could have all of what you were going to make. Because you think that they may be collecting like a 15-20%. That's a lot of money. Like, so I think that they would be down to just like give him that 15-20% back or reduce that percentage. Because technically, The Rock is WWE's intellectual property. John Cena is WWE's intellectual property. So by nature, they're going to take a cut. So if they just allow
crazy.
Rock to kind of like take all of his cut, I think that The Rock doesn't even get a salary. But I may be wrong, but you know, that's just how I feel.
God, that's insane. I
It's
never thought
crazy, right?
about that. That whole
Yeah.
15-20%. Does that apply to
Hmm.
people like Sasha and Naomi what they're doing right now? So
Well,
do they get a cut with
technically,
everything that they're doing?
that's the reason why Sasha building her brand the way that she is right now is so genius because she's not doing it as Sasha Banks. She's doing it as Mercedes Varnado, which is her real name, right? So anytime that like Sasha Banks, because one of the biggest hot topics when Vince was in charge was like, well, how come WWE people can't use their WWE name? It's because the way that like the logic is the way that like certain TV shows have certain characters is the way that WWE gives wrestlers their wrestler names. So like a Sasha Banks is like a TV character name. So it's like because it's a TV character name, like anything related to that name is related to WWE, which means that WWE has to take a cut of it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the reason why Mercedes is
Oh, like
doing
when
what she's
China tried taking her name back? Kind of like that?
exactly. Exactly.
Oh
So it's
shit,
like
wow.
that's like one of the biggest like the reason why what Mercedes is doing is like she's marketing herself primarily as Mercedes. Like she's saying like, yes, I was
You can't take
Sasha
my
Banks
government away from me,
on
bitch.
right. I was Sasha Banks in WWE. I was such and such on The Mandalorian. But overall, I am Mercedes. And she's marketing herself as Mercedes so that the value is in Mercedes, not in Sasha Banks, not in who she was on The Mandalorian.
Interesting.
So now she can pivot into
Definitely
multiple things. And whatever she does as Mercedes, she keeps all of. That's between her agent, her manager, and herself. But if it's a Sasha Banks thing, now WWE has to get involved because that's WWE's intellectual property. The Sasha Banks name is WWE's trademark, which means that it's WWE's intellectual property. So, little nuggets of truth there, little
fascinating.
nuggets of business there. Um, but moving on.